You are watching WPTV, award-winning college television.
Welcome back to the desk. The Pioneer softball season is in full swing, and here to break down the latest from Pioneer softball field is Andrew Ballesteri, Michael Milligan, Bijan Pulley, and Andy Gavin. Guys, the Pioneer season hasn't been going the way that they wanted to go, and the record, they're still trying to get the first win of the season. But Andy, despite all that, who has been a standout player for you so far?
I'm going to say Haley Weinberg. We're going to take a look at her stats here. She has been phenomenal so far. She has 10 hits, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs so far, 3 base on balls. We talked about that already. Her batting average at bats on base percentage is 342. Her OPS is a staggering 685. And she's a senior. She's really good with her glove. She'll be severely missed next year. But hey, NJAC play coming up. Let's see how she can do.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been phenomenal so far. Valley, I'll move it over to you. Who is your player?
Well, Coop, my time on this desk is now very limited, and I always said I'd never talk about Grace Gaskill, but I think it's finally time for me to shed some light on Grace. Out of her mind right now. In her 37 at-bats, she's hitting .459 with a slugging percentage, of 541 and an OPS of 1028. Has 7 ribbies, a double, a triple. She really has been a hitting machine all season long so far. Can really tell she's having a great time playing softball. And listen, it's her final season. She may only have 3 weeks left of her softball career. I'm very, very proud of what she's done. Very, very happy she's going out with a bang.
Yeah, I mean, she's been a hitting machine throughout the first part of the season. But Michael, I'll move it over to you. Who is your Lady Pioneer?
It's a person who I predicted actually in the very beginning of the season. Gianna Mulatto has been an absolute beast lately. At-bats, 43 at-bats, having a batting average of .302, slugging percentage of .442, as well as an OPS of 790. Also is tied for the team in RBIs with 7. So she's been having a very, very nice, productive season at the bat and at the plate. So she's doing a really, really nice job this season.
Yep, absolutely. Bijan, quickly close this out. Who's your player?
Man, I got to go with Jillian Bigelow. She has been phenomenal this season. If we look at her stats on the screen, she has been at bat 46 times with a batting average of .261, with a slugging percentage of 41.3, and an OPS of .759. She's just been phenomenal. As a grad student, she has come in and produced immediately, being very consistent in each game.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, the Pioneer season we know hasn't been going the way that they wanted to. And they dropped the first, 2 games in the NJAC opener against Rutgers Newark. Valley, I'll start with you. What is the main factor why they're struggling so much to get wins this season?
It's situational hitting, and they're not getting crucial hits at crucial points during all of these games. It feels like they're consistently getting the leadoff hitter on, but then the next person's going to strike out or they're going to pop up, and then the next person after that is going to ground into a double play or they're going to fly out, and that's just it's hard to win games like that. If you get someone on, bunt them over, get them over to second. Play small ball. It's what you have to do. Try to hit for contact. I see so many of these girls, and they're just trying to swing this for the fence. Most of the time, you're not going to hit a home run. So they got to start playing small ball. It's the only way they're going to win these games. You got to force the fielders to make these plays instead of just letting the pitcher dominate you all game.
Yeah, situational hitting is key. Andy, what's your takeaway from this?
I'm going to say errors. They have 24 errors this season. They have 9 unearned runs, and that is always going to come back and haunt you, and it has in a lot of games, unearned runs they've lost by. So you got to clean that up, and clean that up that's how you get a recipe to win.
Yeah, errors can make haunt you going down the season. Bijan, what's your takeaway from this?
I got to go with inconsistent pitching. The Pioneers pitchers of Lily Goofy, Kylie Anthony, Gianna Mulatto all have not great ERAs. For an ERA, you want to be between 3.0 and 4, but our pitchers are not doing that as of right now. Lily has a 4.2 ERA, which is the best, and then Kylie has a 6.06, and then Gianna has an 8.15. That just has to be better, because if you're not pitching well, then you're going to get behind, and then it's hard to come back from behind, especially when the other team gets momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, close us out with this one.
For me, it has to be the striking out. Like Baylee had mentioned before, whether it's swinging for the fences too much or just having trouble putting making contact with the ball. But you got to figure out, they have 70 total strikeouts as a team right now. Some of them are in the double digits within like 13 games, 14 games this season. That's almost 1 per game. You got to figure out how to hanker down and just make more contact with the ball.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. But guys, the Pioneers' record on paper does not favor them to make the playoffs this season because they're 0-2 in the conference so far. Bijan, I will start with you. Do you think the Pioneers can make that playoff push to get to the playoffs this season?
Despite looking at the record currently, I'm optimistic. I'm a hopeless. I'm going to say yes. In their 2 conference games, which were against Rutgers Newark, they lost, but both games were close. In the first game, they lost 7-5, and in that game, they had a 1-point lead from the top of the third to the top of the fourth. In the second game, they lost 5-3. So there's not like there's a large gap for them to have to overcome. If they can just clean up a couple mistakes, they could get a couple conference wins. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, always good to be optimistic. Michael.
I'm sorry, I just don't see it happening. I'm going with no here, and it's just the schedule ahead of them. Everything the teams are going to be facing, the NJAC, competition. It's just getting too far ahead of them right now. They're 0-14. I think for now, maybe they can string a couple wins together, maybe in the NJAC conference, everything like that. But I just don't see them making an actual favorable push for the playoffs this year.
Yeah, Andy.
Yeah, no. I mean, simple as that. You're 0-14 on the season. And look, I'm trying to be realistic here. You're struggling to win some games. You're also a very young team, and that's okay. Build off this year. Come back next year, a young team, kind of in the middle right there. You have a young team. You're also an older team, not really middle-classmen or anything. Come back, build off that, and see what you can do. But probably not.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be very nice because they've had very good games. They played Rutgers Newark. They were close games, one-run games here and there. So, just keep building off that and see, hey, prove me wrong, please. I would love that.
I mean, sometimes you got to be blunt, Andy. You're not wrong about your points, but Baylee closes out with this one. What do you think?
I'm gonna say yes, but they're barely hanging on by a thread at this point. I mean, listen, getting swept by Newark is probably worse than rock bottom, and I think they finally hit the worst point that they're gonna hit. So it's quite literally only up from here. NJAC is a very good conference. They have some very winnable games. And listen, this weekend, you're going against Ramapo and you're going against Rowan. Those are 2 of the best teams in the country. This is a perfect weekend. Prove the why not us mentality. Believe in it. They're going to make the NJAC playoffs.
Baylee, I got to say, you always make the desk very lively. You're always optimistic. But guys, the Pioneers match up against a tough Ramapo opponent, NJAC opponent at home on Saturday. Michael, take us through this one.
So what we're going to have right here, we're going to look at these stats right now between both of them. Batting averages, 261 for the Pioneers, 396 for the Roadrunners, 624 for the Pioneers OPS to 1.025. ERA, you're clocking in at 5.54 for Pioneers, as well as 2.17 for the Roadrunners. And then finally, the whip of 1.97 to 1.05 for the Roadrunners. I mean, look, this team's going to be, it's going to be a nice matchup we're going to see here, and it's going to be a really fun time to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, I'll keep it with you. What is something that they need to do to get a win over this tough Ramapo team?
I think for sure they need to start learning how to extend their at-bats. Maybe have some sort of soliloquy between each one of them to have, to speak to themselves, to really get themselves in that mentality before going up to the bat, to really calm themselves down. Therefore, they can really go in there and just extend what they need to do and get on the base.
Yeah, absolutely. Bijan?
I'm going to go with keep Ramapo off the board. This comes back to the pitching I was talking about earlier. If our pitchers can keep Ramapo off the board and let us get in a groove when we have to get hit, maybe we can get some momentum and start building a lead, because momentum is a real thing. People tell you momentum's not a real thing. It is. So if you get down early against Ramapo, they get the home crowd going, and they just keep hitting home runs or they keep getting people on base. It's kind of like, well, we lost before, so this ain't nothing new.
Yeah, they got to keep the Roadrunners off the board. Baylee?
They got to string together hits. Back to my earlier point, getting one person on per inning is not a good way to win a softball game. It's impossible to win a softball game if you're getting one person on per inning. And, there needs to be more consistency. You got to make these pitchers uncomfortable. You got to force them to throw difficult pitches. You have to force the fielders to make tough plays. And listen, maybe you have some bad sportsmanship. Maybe you get down the first base line, you get the first, you scream in the first baseman's face. I don't know. Just get some energy, get some momentum like Bajan's talking about. And it's the only way that they're going to beat Ramapo tomorrow.
Yeah, stringing together hits can be a momentum booster. Andy, close out with this one.
Score often, score early, keep scoring. Because this Roadrunners team, they're averaging about 8 runs a game. So you're going to have to put up some runs, set the pace of the game early, let it be a fast-paced game, string hits together, be aggressive on the base pass. You're going to have to do something different to beat this type of team.
Yeah,
Mind games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Scream, man.
Scream.
Get loud. Yeah, just
get loud.
Get loud.
Get in their heads.
Dude, when you step in that batter's box, just scream.
Strike fear into them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Main character arc.
Yeah, scoring early is key. But let's move off the diamond to the other diamond, and let's move over to Jeff Albie's field for WP Baseball next on Sports Desk.